Welcome everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much for being here with us on this, what I call auspicious Sunday morning for us. I think I know most people, but I haven't met Bhumi before. So, I'm Apurva. I've been teaching yoga, doing inner work, working with people, and all that for a while now. And I do all my work under the name of In.Breath. And In.Breath, I guess In.Breath gave itself this name 20 years ago, but since then we've decided to grow many branches. And so, not just related to the breath. And today is actually for us a new branch. Art has somehow always been, while I personally, I think, I'm one of those people who think she can't draw and is not an artist of any kind or creative or in that sense. But somehow it has always found a space in breath. We have always attracted people. And then Aditi has been a part of this journey for the last 6 years. And together we've explored so many. I mean, many of you already know this here. We've explored so many moments with her, where we've explored ourselves through art. We've also got to receive so much of her beautiful art, her reflections. So it felt very natural. We were both talking that it's taken us all these years to just somehow, through probably many organic steps that have unfolded over the years, things we probably didn't even know that were leading us here, and somehow we are here, where we are hopefully growing a new branch at In.Breath. And so very excited to welcome you here. And I will be in the background from here on, just managing the space, being a participant with everyone, and handing it over to Aditi. So welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. Aditi, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Apurva. Welcome, everyone. This is really exciting for me. It's like Apurva said, we've been exploring how art and meditation intersect for a while now. But here we are, and thank you for taking time off on a Sunday morning to be here with us. So today we are just it's not about making a beautiful drawing. It's more about taking a really ordinary object and just staying with it and seeing what happens when we stay with something for a little longer. And so we we'll get started with the round of introductions. We all know each other, but I'm curious to know what made you sign up for the workshop today. So maybe we can each take a minute or so and introduce ourselves. And anyone would like to go first? And then maybe they can tag another person.
I'll get started. So I'm Ashlesha. I know a lot of you, and it's great to see you all. And I'm here because I love drawing. I'm not an artist or anything in terms of drawing at all, but I love it. So, and I love Aditi's work. So I'm here to explore this space. And I'll tag Ponnari.
Thank you, Ashisha. Hello, everyone. I'm Ponnari. I part of a program with Aditi, Apurva, Shlesha, and some of the others over the last year. And I was always fascinated with, how Aditi uses art to sort of express herself and her inner thoughts. And, uh, something that really sort of really touched me so many times during the past year. And so I think that is what made me sign up for this, because I think I can't draw at all. But there were some points where, the just putting a drawing on page as part of Madhuram was very sort of soothing for me. And so, this combination of art and meditation sort of really connected with me. And so I thought, okay, let me come explore what can be done. So thank you for this session, Apurva and Aditi.
Thank
Uh,
you.
I'll tag Boom because I can see her on my screen.
Thanks, Banari. Good morning, everyone. My name is Bhumi. I'm based out of Hyderabad, and nice to meet you all. I've heard so much about you, your group, your sessions, and everything from Aditi. We go. Yeah, like everyone else, I'm also mighty impressed with her drawing skills, and have been pushing her to do this for a very long time. And for me, the reason for joining was that I remember drawing as a kid. More than drawing, I think observing as a kid. I was a keen observer. Uh, and, going through design schools and, drawing was part of life, but I don't know when I lost it. Like, I don't even remember last time when I drew. Now it's all about making presentations and talking and telling stories. But yeah, so I want to connect back to, drawing, and that's why I'm here. So happy Sunday, everyone. Looking forward to this.
Nice.
Pankaj?
Hey everyone, I'm Pankaj. I'm Aditi's brother. I'm also a therapist based in San Diego. So, thinking about inner work and meditation, it's been sort of an ongoing journey. I think lately I've been very interested in meditation as movement. So, I swim a lot and find that very meditative. So, this idea of art as meditation was, apart from seeing Aditi hosting this, which is such a full circle thing we for us as a family too. But so yeah, excited to be here and see hear what everyone has to say. And I will popcorn to Manisha.
Hello, I'm Manisha. Hi, everyone. I'm just very excited that I was able to make it for this event. Been looking forward to it for a while. Like some of you were sharing, art has become a part of actually in a lot of the communities that I engage with and a lot of workshops that I've done. um, People use art and drawing as a part of yoga. So, and a part of like self work, self reflection. For me, it it took a while to let it be so fluid because it was always very structured. Like drawing and painting and art always was very structured. I was sent to drawing class as a kid. So, it was all about like drawing well. And so over the years, I've really um, worked hard at trying to let it not be that. And some of the things that Aditi has done in various groups that I'm part of was it seemed to seamlessly help me do that. The way she um, puts together these ideas of being able to like just express through art. So yeah, I was just curious to explore more of that for myself and also how I can develop this as a part of even some of the offerings or like the work that I do, say with kids. So, yeah, just curious and very, very excited. Thank you. I pass it to Sukriti.
Thanks, Manisha. Hi, everyone. I'm Sukriti. I'm based in Hyderabad as well. And I think for me, really struggle with overthinking. So journaling and writing sometimes tends to just add to that. So as part of like my personal yoga practice that I've been doing with Gayatri for a couple of years, she had really encouraged me to just work with art instead and like kind of get the mind to stop thinking so much while creating. It's just as a form of play. And I felt that really resonated with me. So I'm excited to be here today. And I will pass to Vandana.
Thanks, Sukriti. Hi, everyone. So nice to see faces that I've seen in other windows in other classes and in person, but it's so nice to be here together. Um, it's quite magical. It's like a few different strands coming together for me here. If I count, it might be seven, like in a rainbow. But it began with Apurva 6 years ago, in June 2020, in the classes she offered in the pandemic. I discovered the breath, although I was already in a class, but the discovery felt deeper. I was part of an inner work program then. And a couple of months later, Aditi and I began our series of popping up in the same classes. In the inner work program I was doing, along with listening, drawing was also a part of it. And all my life I've struggled with drawing, probably because of overthinking, as Sukriti mentioned, that rang a bell. Almost like the thinking part of the brain like had an invisible vice on the hand as it began to draw. So the minute you put your hand, there is a voice which says, what do I draw? What do I do? Anyway, that was a starting point. Over the last 6 years of various inner work and breath programs, I've noticed that the turning point came when I began to somehow feel my emotions differently in my body. And I suddenly realized I had been, at least I felt, I had been thinking my emotions all these years. And ever since then, I was excited to go back to drawing and see, now that I feel differently or I see my feelings differently, what would it be like to draw? And last year in Madurai, I found I was, yeah, actually doing something different from that typical concrete drawing of mine, drawing stick figures and writing text. And once in a while, I drew and I would draw and say, oh, I made this. So, anyway, I'm here with these three strands and a few others which I won't go into, but it feels like the journey began with Apurva as the Sutradhar. And now I feel like Aditi ki ungli pakad ke chalne wale hain. Like this other Sutradhar has come. From colleague, she has become the guide, and I'm so happy and proud. So, yeah, I'm excited for their journey and our journey. Thank you, everyone.
Tag someone, Vandana.
Oh, Ankita.
Thank you. My name is Ankita. I'm also a psychologist and a psychotherapist based in Dehradun now. I have been practicing with Aditi, Apurva, Vandana, Manisha, Nupur. I left out anybody for the last 5-6 years. I also tend to use a lot of expressive arts in my own work as a therapist. And I think what keeps bringing me back to these spaces is that in both my own healing journey, exploration journey, whatever you want to call it, I think beyond a point, words and intellect felt very limiting, like Sukriti said. And I think just opening up the vocabulary to include all the arts, actually, whether it's music, song, poetry, art, has really been life changing for me. So I think both in terms of how it has helped me grow as a person as well as a therapist, I think I will continue to engage with spaces like this. So that's what brings me here. And of course, two of my favorite people are doing this together. So it is a big moment for many of us. And yeah, I will tag Nupur.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nupur. I'm in Chennai, and I had one session with Aditi and I saw her process in Dehradun when we had a retreat. Art has been a very solo process for me for many, many years. It has been something that I do by myself. And when we did it in Dehradun together, it became something that we did together. And that was a very different experience. And I really enjoyed it. So that's why I'm here.
Tag someone.
I'll tag prompts.
Thanks, Nupur. So for me, it was, it's a very different combination, art and meditation coming together. And being offered in this space. Uh, I think I'm just here to explore. I'm a yoga teacher, so it's always good to learn, new things which we can maybe use with our students somewhere down the line. Yeah. Thank you. I'll tag Manjari.
Hi everyone. I have just been appreciative, Aditi, of your expression of your inner world at different. I mean, after classes, etc. And yeah, I've just wanted to see how. I mean, I just wanted to be here. I don't know. I don't have any expectations, but it comes from that, and yeah, I just wanted to be here. Thank you.
So yeah, thanks everyone. That's quite heartwarming already. But we'll get straight into the session. So I hope all of you brought an object with you that you want to draw today. So we will start first with just we'll take 2 full minutes to just be with the object. You don't really have to do anything. You just keep the object at a place where you can observe it, and we will take 2 minutes to just observe, look at the shape, look at what really strikes you when you look at it, and and also where does your eye fall? Does it keep going to a particular point? So just be with the object. Apurva, probably you can keep time and tell us when 2 minutes are up.
Yes.
Yeah. Notice also what's happening when you are doing this seeing, and I'd also invite you to slow your seeing down, see what happens and observe. We'll move into the next exercise. So I'd like you to take one of your sheets of paper and one of the objects or instruments that you've got to draw. And we'll start with making our first drawing. So there are a couple of things here that you have to keep in mind. Keep the object at one point, and then when you start drawing, you will pick one point on the object where you would want to start, and you place the pen on the paper. But through the entire drawing process, you will not lift your pen and you will not look at the paper. Don't worry about how the drawing is turning out. That's really not important. What we are aiming at is just staying with the object and using the line as a way of staying with it. So it's literally like your eyes are making an outline of the object and your hand is following it, but you're not looking at the paper. We'll take again 3 full minutes to draw, and it'll be nice if you don't lift your pen during this entire time. And it may happen that you will lose the point at which you were drawing and you may want to go back to some point. So don't worry, just stay with your eyes and start from wherever you are. So is that clear? And I think you'll be able to follow more as you do. So we can perhaps pick a point on the object and place your pen on the paper, and then after that you're not looking at the paper, you're just looking at the object. And we'll take 3 minutes. Apurva, let us know once the time is 3 minutes. Also try and go really, really slow. That always helps. When you find yourself going faster, just slow yourself down.
Okay, 3 minutes are up.
Okay, we'll just set our pens down. We don't have to judge what you've done right away. Just look at what has happened on the paper and think we can see what's happened, and perhaps we could share something that you discovered in the last 3 minutes.
Essentially, what was it like for you, in the last 3 minutes to do this? What did you experience? What did you discover? So, if anyone feels like sharing, go ahead and unmute. Yes, go ahead, Vandana.
It began with enjoyment. I've done this once before with Aditi when we had to draw and not look, and it felt threatening that time. This time it felt familiar, so I thought I've got this. I began doing. But somewhere the enjoyment of doing it, I don't know where, turned it probably into enjoyment of getting it right. And the second half, I was compelled to sneak a few looks and get it right. So that compelled to get it right stays with me as my trait.
Yeah, I think I've done it so many times, but every single time I still feel like I should sneak in to see where I am. That's pretty, I mean, that happens to me always.
And right as I was finishing, I thought, chalo, let me get the lip of the mug. Bina dekhe, there are 3 lines on it. And when I drew one, and it was far away from where I had thought it would be, I was actually compelled to correct it. So this just tells me so much.
Anybody else? Did something happen to your sense of time? What did 3 minutes feel like?
I can share. I thought 3 minutes was going to be too long because I've chosen quite a simple object, you know. And I resisted looking at. I knew that it wasn't coming. Like I'd messed up the boundaries of the object that I was drawing. But I was really lost in the beauty of it. Actually, I was really lost in the beauty of the object. And this is a mug that a friend of mine has made. So I'm thinking about her and what she must have thought while making it and things like that. So, yeah, really, really lost in the object itself.
Maybe I can share.
Yeah.
So for me, it has actually been quite freeing because I have this notion stuck in my head that I can't draw to save my life. So just to know that, I'm not looking and therefore I don't have to make it perfect and I don't have to judge my own drawing, I think was, so yeah, so it was more enjoyable for me for that reason because I'm not judging myself while I am drawing. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I think for me also, like sometimes I get really stuck, and this is like a really great warm up for me to just just put my pen to paper and stop the thinking mind. Because if I keep thinking, I'll keep thinking. So it's a very simple way of just starting.
I want to say one small thing.
Yeah,
I'm feeling sad because when you had advertised this, there was an image of the teapot and a few line drawings. And I can see that right now also, actually. And this is not about comparison. This is about feeling that that moment of uniqueness kind of was lost in the moment of correctness. Like I'm sad for the loss. I'm not like feeling less or anything like that, but it's just a loss. For in general, it's a loss.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Vandana. Thank you for sharing that. This is really just in the business of life, how we lose parts of us. So thank you for bringing that in. Just stay with it for a few seconds. We can all be with you for a few seconds because I don't think you're the only one who's lost that. Many of us have lost that, life or something similar. Okay. I have a bad throat, guys, so maybe my voice is also going to be low. But yeah. Does anyone else? Manisha, I think you were ready to share.
Yeah. We have time for one more sharing.
Yeah.
So, like I was sharing earlier also, right, that the being used to a structured way of drawing is what I wanted to like let go of. Somewhere though, when you said that, you can look at it and draw, even though you can't lift the pen, you look at it and draw, there was some sort of like relief that, okay, fine, at least I'm looking at something and trying to copy it. It's not something that has to come out from within, because that feels very pressurizing for me. But it was beautiful to see that as I started doing that, the process completely took me to so many different places. It stopped from actually just trying to like imitate something or like uh, duplicate something to noticing so much more and like initially I was like, okay, and even when I've done this earlier a couple of times with you, when in my mind already there's a limiting factor of, oh, if I can't lift the pen, it won't come out. Like there are certain parts of it I may not be able to draw. But as I went along, I kept discovering more and more possibilities of like coming back to the old, um, redrawing it in a different way, even without lifting the pen. Um, so that was just very, mm, it was bringing a lot of hope. It felt very invigorating to be able to look at something with a new uh, pair of eyes, like go back to something and look at it with a new pair of eyes and say, like, oh, hey, maybe I can still do this. So I haven't really lost, or like, yeah, it felt like I haven't really lost that part. And it's not that I have to now move on. So yeah, it was beautiful. And I think I also didn't realize when you spoke of time, Aditi, I didn't realize. In fact, I didn't even realize that it was a timed thing. Somewhere my brain had just not even heard that part. And I kept just coming back to my breath, trying to slow down the way I was doing it. And it just was beautiful. Thank you.
Nice. Think we can take our next step now. So, or you want to wait for a bit?
Yeah, I'm just feeling like, can we sit with just whatever's emerged for a few moments
Sure.
before we go into the next one? Yeah. I think it'll be really nice to just check in um, with how you're feeling. I'm sure a lot has emerged for many of us. And just take a moment to just be with that and see that. That's the whole point. The whole point is to see ourselves. Okay? Ready, Aditi? Thank you.
Okay. So we'll take the next step. We'll take the object again and we'll draw this time. And this time we are allowed to look at our paper as we are drawing. But the only constraint is that we don't lift our pen. So we can look at the object, look at the paper, check what's going on, but we just don't lift our pen and we stay with uh, with the drawing for the whole 3 minutes, and we draw it again. If you feel like it, you can move the position, try drawing it from a different angle if that's what calls out to you. But mainly we just don't lift our pen, we just make it into what we call a continuous line drawing. Yeah. So Purva, we start again. 3 minutes. You can take a fresh sheet of paper if you feel like for it.
Okay, 3 minutes are up.
I realized I've been drawing this pot for the last couple of days. Actually, I must have drawn it by a couple of, I mean, at least 100 times. And today, when I was actually looking at it again, I realized I haven't drawn it with the lid open. So I'm amazed at how many possibilities are there, even when you think you've drawn it enough. But yeah, it was also, I would love to know what happened when you were able to see the picture while drawing. Was it different from the earlier experience of not seeing it?
Hi, can I go?
Yes.
So I did opposite. I actually did the first one seeing, and the second one, then I made myself not see and do it. It is a very different experience. The first one was very controlled, and what I realized that I really liked the feel of the object, and it wasn't so much about the shape because the object was very simple, because how it felt in my hand and all of those things, and it was quite a calm experience. The second one, when I didn't have to see, I kind of realized that it's going to be all over the place at some point. I was like, I have no clue what I'm doing. So then it became like, I was like, yeah, then let's just do whatever I want, anyways. Like, so I kind of went wild with it, and it felt really freeing actually, because I didn't try to make it as it was. I
That's
went off the rail a little bit.
Thanks for actually doing that, Nupur. It gives me a completely new insight into that exercise. Because I've always done it the other way around, but it's so interesting to know what happens if you sort of just alternate the sequence.
Yeah, I think because I did it the second time around, I had very little investment in it being correct.
Right. Nice. And also, like, I think a lot of times when you do it first, there's most of the time I feel a lot of discomfort to not be able to see and that need to kind of keep peeking in just once. But but also every time I see it after I finish, I feel it's so freeing and, I love it for whatever it is, even though it's not a right, so-called correct drawing. And I think it brings a certain looseness, which actually, when your mind is switched on, it's very, very difficult to achieve that.
Yeah, if I can just, sorry, Apurva, go ahead. I just wanted to add to the same thing because my experience was almost exactly the same, even though I didn't do it that way. I did it first without seeing my paper and the second time seeing my paper. But the second time wasn't as beautiful in the sense that I realized one is I was like waiting to hear, oh, when is the time going to get up because I'm done. And two is that um, I think my focus was just on like looking at what I'm drawing and how it feels in comparison to what the object actually is, rather than enjoying the process. I realized that I didn't even come back to my breath once. Uh, it was just about how much more can I do, or how can I make it better, and how can I refine it. And I think the whole focus was away from the process, and it felt so. By the time it was over, I was like, oh, this was quite disappointing. What did I? It actually felt like a loss of precious time. So
Yeah, it seems like from what you're sharing, you and Nupur, and then connecting it back to the idea of correctness that seems to be coming up in the space, It feels like correctness, or this a tendency of the mind to want to get it right, or um, get it accurately. It seems to shift us into like this kind of like a stale copying rather than a real exploration. Like, am I really seeing the object then? Am I really seeing what I want to like when I have this object in front of me, am I just like, okay, trying to translate it into paper, but am I really seeing? And how does that happen to us all the time in life, right? We're trying to get things right, we're trying to make things accurate. Sometimes things become very familiar, so we just stop seeing them. We're just copying them, or it just becomes very stale. I'm in touch with the staleness of that process rather than a genuine curious exploration. I can't even imagine, Aditi, how you sat with the same object multiple times and found curiosity again, again and again. But that's really powerful, that's very beautiful, to just keep looking at it again and again and finding a new possibility. that what is it that allows us to do that is what I'm staying with.
Also, I think Apurva, for me, I was also sitting with that when uh, I think when we decided to do this workshop and I was thinking planning what we can do, I just started drawing. And for me, I think just putting pen to paper does something to my mind in a way that just words and thinking is not able to. And that is what I really wanted to bring to this space. And a lot of these questions and doubts, one of the interesting things is that uh, I've I've always wanted to draw freely. And in between, I saw, even for me, a lot of judgment when I had stopped drawing for many years. And then when I got back to it, it just didn't seem right. But I think just trying to answer all of that by drawing itself is what has stayed with me personally. And I'm also curious that, when we were like, some of you have taken very simple objects. So 3 minutes sometimes can, did it feel a lot to any of you, or what happened when it felt a lot? Uh, I'm just curious.
It did feel a little bit more, but that's when I started actually having fun. Because I was like, oh, it's like, I have time now. I wanted to, there is some like Japanese writing on it. So I moved beyond the shape to like, I was like, oh yeah, there's some writing on it that I remember. Let's just do like some scribbles here or scribbles there. So it went to a more playful space actually, because that time was there.
Yeah, Ankita.
Yeah. If I had to use a metaphor that hit very hard, very quickly into this, was that when we were doing it the first time, when I was not allowed to look at the object, yeah, I know I'm using the word allowed for some reason. It felt like when we do yoga in the Friday class. And when I was doing it while looking at the object, it seemed a lot like how I do my private practice, like my personal practice. Let me tell you what I mean by that is, it's like in the Friday class, it's a 90-minute thing. So Apurva kind of cues us to slow down everything, observe with curiosity, even though we are doing very similar asanas each time. But there is something new to discover. I mean, almost I feel like I'm forced to discover. I don't often have the patience to do it in my personal practice. And the personal practice was very like, lid ban gaya, ye ban gaya, wo ban gaya, neat lag raha hai. The same 90-minute practice, it doesn't end up being more than 20 minutes for me when I'm doing the personal practice. So it was like an exact mirror image of that for me. Ki, the 3 P's of pleasing, perfecting, performing, and like just ticking the box happens to me when I just have to copy a certain, like, this is the template, I just have to copy it, I'm done for the day, meri practice ho gayi. It was exactly the same process when I could look at the sheet. Whereas when in the free flowing, it was pay attention to what's happening to your breath, pay attention because you don't have an option. So in that sense, time felt very stretched out in the first one in a good way, but also didn't come naturally to me. In the second one, it was like, karke side karo. Thing. Yeah.
Wow, that's quite a interesting comparison. It's really insightful. Anybody else would like to share? Yeah,
Yeah,
Sukriti.
I also wanted to say something. I felt like the first one, when we were just looking at the object, it kind of really took me back to when we're doing breathing and pranayam, and you say watch your breath, pick one part and watch your breath there. And I felt like I was just watching one thing and doing one thing. But the minute I was watching the object and watching the paper, it's kind of like telling yourself, watch your breath in your chest and in your abdomen. You're not going to watch it well. So somewhere it felt a little bit like multitasking and not giving all of my attention to one thing. So just watching it and not looking at the paper felt more calming for me.
I think I second that. That was my experience as well. The second time around was much harder.
Harder meaning, Pankaj? Can you share more?
As in, I was finding myself getting more distracted, even though I could actually see it. I mean, I literally, it's interesting. The first two times, I took three objects that are next to each other. And the first two I did in the first without looking. And those have actually come out, I mean, I guess more accurate in their shape. And the one where I actually had to look, my mind just went somewhere else and I literally took a wrong turn. And so that was interesting that when I was actually able to look at it, I was more distracted.
That's so interesting, no? We'll hear from Vandana. She's also been, and then we'll come back. Thanks for sharing that, Pankaj. It's so interesting that the distraction is when we're able to
Let's
see.
stay with that. I'm also confused whether I actually want to share or not. There is something to share, but the wanting
हाँ,
to share is
इसीलिए बार
confusing.
बार आप म्यूट कर रहे हो लेकिन आ नहीं रहा आपका चांस, so maybe we'll stay with that. This is so interesting what's showing up. I mean, I'm actually feeling surprised, Aditi, with the sharing in the room, that it was seems more distracting and less wholesome when you're seeing and doing it. I almost thought everyone would say, "Wow, it was such a relief to be able to see it and do it." So it's like my mind is like going upside down right now. So wondering, Aditi, any thoughts on that? Like, how do we make sense of that since you've been drawing so much?
No, I think I'm also very surprised with this. I think it started with Nupur actually flipping the flipping the thing upside down, and so it's really interesting for me because this is very surprising for me also. Most of the time, um, when you actually do the exercise of not seeing first and then follow it up with seeing, there is a sense of relief because you're able to, that discomfort of not seeing is gone. But this is very revealing actually. And it's bringing me to this thing that even for me, like sometimes when I decide what I want to do and then start doing it, what comes up on paper most of the time doesn't seem to align with what I had thought. But if I don't have any of that in mind, then the way I look at it actually is much more, I would say, expansive. So yeah, I think doing it with a lot of people, I think that is also the interesting thing where you get very different and new perspectives that you would never have thought. In fact, for me, this one of the things that happens in this is that 3 minutes when I'm seeing become much longer, and I actually struggle to sort of be with it longer. But then the thing that helps me is having a pen in hand, and the line actually becomes like a breath thing for me. And even if my mind distracts, and the moment I notice that it has distracted, I just come back. So I don't have to start like a new drawing from scratch. I just start wherever I notice that I've come back. So for me, actually doing it in a just holding the line on paper is literally like holding a breath. Yeah, Vandana.
I'm just caught between these two words in myself, freshness and staleness. So when the exercise began, I was back in the retreat we had recently. You gave us these twigs and we did this exercise. And because it was the first time in my life I did this exercise, the result and the whole process and moment stayed with me. So today I also flipped it because I had done the earlier exercise. So I flipped it with a lot of excitement that now I'm going to get that moment again, which I think was a trap, but anyway. And then as I did it, I drew something long and vertical, and midway I realized no matter how hard I'm trying, after a point, my peripheral vision kind of knew where the pencil and the paper was. So, that hand I talked about, which didn't let me draw, this time I took my other hand and I put it in front of my, eyes. I mean, not eyes, but below my eyes, my visual field, really. And then I obviously couldn't see anything. And then I felt so happy. I felt so happy. I just wanted to share that my freshness came in the moment I liberated myself. I finished drawing, and then there was time and I was still enjoying it. So I went back, and I knew that going back on the same thing, obviously, definitely there's a huge chance I'll be somewhere far away. I said, "Koi baat nahi." And I again finished it, and I tried making some pattern on it. And then when I took it off and I saw, I felt happy at it. But I also felt happy because it looked like one of Aditi's drawings, those lines I talked about. And then after a minute, I felt stale again. Okay, it's nice that it looks like what you wanted, but it's still an external standard. So I just felt that this thing keeps moving. And then after that, I couldn't share this because I wasn't even sure, am I sharing something fresh, like in this moment, or am I just sharing my stale reconstruction? So yeah, it was fun being lost.
It's
Like the
sorry.
idea of having fun being lost. I'm actually in that state a lot. Uh, do you want to say something, Apurva? Or
No, no, it's fine.
so
Just
let
want to
Ashlesha wanted to say something.
yeah.
I don't know if we have time for this. If you want to move on to the next, I can share afterwards also.
No. Apurva, you're the one like keeping the time.
Yeah, we. So what's happened is a lot of people joined last minute, no? So one message we possibly missed sending out to everybody is we ask everybody to keep a little buffer time after 11:30. So if we extend by 15 minutes or so, is everyone okay here? Does anyone have a hard stop and they have to go? Punari?
I'll
One
have to
thing.
go, but that's okay.
Okay, we'll do our best. So maybe we can hear one or two shares now and then we'll take the next step. Yeah? How about that? Yes, go ahead, Ashlesha, and then I think Manisha wanted to share. Then we'll take the next step.
So, okay, so as I was drawing the second time, it was a very freeing experience for me. So I was surprised to, hear the previous sharings because I also started singing, and I realized that when a bandish is bandishes are very short. They are two-liners, and they usually there's a lot of descriptions of beauty. And I started singing about this eyebrow of a person, mraga dragana, like this eyes like a deer, and her eyebrows are being described. And I was just in touch with how when you go into something and look at it, you get lost in the minuteness of it, and there is so much. I think I was in touch with the fact that I hold so much sense of aesthetic beauty based on like the gross, the first thing that you see, rather than like going deeper into it and just getting lost in whatever it is, and this, I'll show you this mug. It has a lot of textures. It has tons of textures and just a lot of earth, and so it was very freeing for me because I was singing and I was more focused on the minuteness of it. So I haven't captured any of the minuteness in my drawing, but it didn't matter. So I was just in touch with that.
That's so beautiful. Thanks for sharing, Ashlesha.
That's really interesting, Ashlisha, because since my experience was completely the opposite, I was actually thinking, and this thought came to me that even in life, then maybe this holds true for me that when I start just looking at something from my own perception, I'm so absorbed and engrossed in looking at it from just my own perception. So when I was looking at the paper to see what I'm actually drawing, I was more consumed by that, by what I had seen, that it felt limiting. I didn't give enough thought or enough time to even like consider other possibilities or actually see the object truly for so much more that it is. You know, I don't think I even went back to the object after like the first minute or something. I just kept drawing more and more. And that's why it felt that 3 minutes were too much. So I'm just thinking that even in life, then, it if there's something that I'm so absorbed in my own perception of it, it just becomes limiting because I'm not exploring so many other possibilities, or like truly seeing something for what it is, for what it can be, for what the other may see in it.
Maybe we can all just sit for a minute with everything that has emerged after the second round of drawing. Just sit with it, absorb it, let it settle, and then let's take the next step. Those of you who are behind the videos, your videos off, I hope you are with us, just checking in. So we take the next step, yeah.
All right. So, taking inspiration from what Nupur did, we will take the next step, and we will take the object that we've chosen and turn it upside down if that's possible. If you have an object that doesn't that's not stable upside down, you can even just take a picture of it, and let's draw it upside down, see what happens, and perhaps take 30 seconds, the first 30 seconds, to just look at it instead of going straight into drawing. And then we start drawing again, and we take another 3 minutes.
Sorry, you've asked us to put the object upside down.
Yeah, the object upside down. So if your object, say for instance, like my object cannot really be upside down because it's got this thing, you can take a picture of it, or and draw from the picture, or you can see what you can do, because everyone will have different objects, I'm guessing.
Also, uh, when we're drawing now, we're seeing and drawing and like regular drawing. Yeah.
Yes, you can see and draw, and it would be nice if you can stay with a continuous line, because that kind of helps to stay with the thing. So you will see and draw, and you'll keep your pen on paper the whole time. And we'll do this for 3 minutes.
Can I hold the object with one hand and then draw with the other?
Yeah, you can do that, Vandana.
Okay, 3 minutes are up.
There was one little thing I was wanting to say, but I got so lost in my drawing that I didn't. Was that try not to label what you're drawing. Like, what would it be like to not, to just make it into lines and not an object? So, did anything change when we turned it around and drew it?
I can share. Actually, maybe I'll wait for somebody else to share and then I'll go later. Shared enough.
Also, be nice to hear from those who haven't spoken. Where are you? How was it for you?
You know, I felt that when I was drawing, that I was drawing at a point and my eyes were a little ahead of, yeah. So it was, and I tried to be like it to be together at one point, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I totally resonate with that, Rubs, because I keep trying to tell myself to slow down, but I find it really hard to actually do it. And my eyes do go much faster than my hand does. It is something that I resonate with. But I feel like when we are drawing, for me, what happens is that I'm able to actually see this in real instead of thinking it in my mind. Even when I'm going about things in life, I'm always thinking about the outcome or how things are going to unfold. And I want to know exactly what is going to happen. And not knowing feels very uncomfortable. And in that discomfort, I actually lose the moment. And I think that's so beautifully, I actually arrived at that while drawing, because when I am actually drawing, I'm not able to stay with where my eyes are. I'm like, I need to finish. Like the hand is generally going a little like faster. Anybody else would like to share?
I wanted to share. The second time, this flipping the object was interesting. I felt like a different sense of intimacy with the object. And it had moved beyond just play or just getting it accurate. I felt like I saw a lot of details that I was not seeing earlier. And I don't know if it had something to do with the flipping or just that now the time spent with the object has also become a lot more. And it just felt very, yeah, just very intimate. Like I'm into the nooks and crannies and of the thing.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, I just want to share that I really resonate with that. Same thing happened to me today also, and when Aditi and I were doing the trial, like we were just trying some things out between us. Feels like by now my relationship with this object is changing. I'm seeing it more, and so I have this object. I picked this up, and I was holding it like this, and when I turned it, the first thing I noticed is, wow, suddenly it feels like the bell is holding this. So it's like earlier it was like this is holding this. And so suddenly everything changed in my mind, like who's holding whom, you know? And and I actually didn't finish my drawing because 3 minutes, the details, I got so into details of I only drew till here, and then I was And then there is a part of my mind that's like, you have to finish it, you have to finish it. And I step back and say, why? Why do I need to finish it? Maybe I don't need to finish it right now. So it feels like a very different relationship, and my seeing has changed, it feels like for me right now, just from the time we started.
I'm also curious about, like Nupuri shared, that is it because now we have more time or we've given it more time, and what is actually causing that relationship to change like this? Because in my case, for example, my object was a planter with a beautiful, like, it's this planter. And the first time I was drawing it, I lost sense of time, and I really wanted to draw the plant as well. So the moment 3 minutes were over, I hadn't even started with the plant, and I was like, oh no, I don't have time to draw the plant. Um, the second time, I had more than enough time to draw the plant, but I forgot about it. And I kept drawing the container, reiterating things, going back to things, and I completely forgot about the plant. And the third time, when I actually inverted the image, the plant sort of became more prominent for me. It took priority over like everything else. All I could see was like the uh, plant falling so beautifully that actually the container which I had been focusing on for and had even chosen as the object, it changed. It was almost like, it is time for now for emptying the container. Like that whole idea of change and looking at it felt like something is coming out of it. Although I didn't finish drawing the plant, but my focus just kept being on the plant, on the leaves, on everything else. So I'm just thinking out loud that is it the sense of time, or is it something else that causes us to look at something? What is it that actually enables us to give something more time or more prominence or more priority?
That's really beautiful, Manisha. Thanks for sharing your object also. It gives me such a beautiful insight that I think one of the things is that it changes our perspective completely, like what Apurva was also saying. We always tend to look at something, a situation, a person, whatever, in our life in one particular way. But the moment we flip it, we see a very, very different side, which we would probably not have explored before. And the other thing about the question about whether it's the staying with the object that has happened or it's the flipping, I think there is no answer really for that, because I have actually drawn one object at least a couple of hundreds of times also. And I find like newness in every little turn, because the moment I see it from a different angle, the moment I turn it around, I can actually be with, when it comes to drawing, actually, perhaps that is the interesting insight for me, that when I draw, I can be with with the same object for many hundreds of times and still find something different. And I think that's what drawing affords me, in the sense that these are things I may not be able to do in life, but they kind of, it's a learning that I get through doing. So it's a good invitation actually, because we can only do a few things in this session, but it's a good invitation to see it for yourself, whether this is happening because we are changing a perspective, or this is what happens when you do the same thing over and over again to you. And I'm sure it will be different for every person in the room.
I just want to share, I played with the object in a different way accidentally. I held it just to hold it upside down, although it's a mug, it can be upside down. And then I didn't let it go. And as I was drawing, I just brought it closer. And there was a sense of connection. It blocked the view of the paper, so I did not get lost there. And then at the end of the drawing, when I drew it one more time, I decided to draw my three fingertips. with the mug, I felt I was not separate from it. There was one discovery. Despite this enjoyment, connection, everything, there was a little sense of tightness in my tummy. It did not go away.
I wanted to share something. Jumping off of what Apurva said. Now it's actually, and also what Manisha, you showed your object. My mind is going towards like the choice of object, and um, I'll throw what I did. I had these. I got a mango, a plum, and a banana, and so today this is my last day in Hyderabad. I'm going back to San Diego, and it's always a hard day because I'm leaving my parents um, behind, and it's always this like conflict that I'm sort of struggling with and going through. And so it was interesting that I picked these three of my favorite fruits, and also, in a way symbolizing me, my parents. But then there is a fourth aloo bukhara that's like in the back, that's sort of like supporting the mango staying straight. And I was thinking of Aditi, and how she's always been that role in our family. So I don't know, I guess just to sort of reflect more on maybe the choice of objects also interesting, um, and what that symbolizes for each of us.
Yeah, I want to come in here. Thanks for sharing, Pankaj. I think the choice of object is really, I try to do it as intuitively as possible without thinking too much about it. But the more I stay with it, I realize that nothing is by chance. It comes for a reason. And it's only when we stay with it long enough that, we are able to sort of find those connections. Sometimes we may not, and which is also fine. But I think it's really beautiful what you brought in, and something to stay with, I think, because like each one of us will have our own reasons. But I think one other thing I wanted to speak to was this, one of the things as an artist also, which is very challenging for me, is to decide what to start with. Because I may end up spending a lot of my time that I can use to draw to just think about what to draw. And it happens a lot. And actually staying with this one object has really, also reiterated for me that, because I try to keep a chunk of time where I want to prioritize drawing, and every time a lot of it is gone in trying to think what to do next. But I feel like most of the time we intuitively know, and we just need to start. And also this, when we were, when we announced this workshop, I was thinking that this most of the people came back with this thing that I don't know how to draw. And that's the whole point, that's what we think, but this is a way of really finding out for ourselves. Yeah, Bhumi, I would love to hear from you what you felt.
Yeah, a couple of things. Yeah, so since we started, I haven't stopped. I might have not heard instructions, and sorry, but not heard what everyone on the team is saying, but I have just non-stopped drawn, like since you started. I think I'm having a lot of fun. I have a hard time like talking about stuff in a forum like this, but I'll try. For me, this whole experience has been about memories. The object that I chose is about 15, 20 years old. Somebody gifted it to me, and yeah, a lot of thought went into choosing the object. And I realized that the form that it was transitioning into are the familiar forms from back in college when I used to draw or make things. So, it kept taking that shape. It was not like literally the object that I was drawing, and a lot of memories. Like I'm just remembering all the fond memories of seeing you draw, drawing in class, drawing for fun, or just drawing. So, yeah. But yeah, I haven't been very like sincere in terms of following the instructions.
I must say that's very you, Bhumi. So I'm happy
Yeah.
that you were being yourself.
Thanks for letting me make myself. Yes.
And I think I'm really moved that you actually did show up. I've been trying to, we've actually been in college together and we used to draw and do all our assignments together. And as it happens, life takes us into more serious things. And I've been trying to pull her. So I'm really, really moved that I could get you to draw today.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Beautiful sharings. Shall we, in the interest of time, Aditi, do you want to give us some time for the last prompt, and then we move towards closing? So maybe we won't have any reflection about that prompt, or what would you like to do? Let's say we have about 15 minutes, 15 minutes or so to close. And I know somebody really needs to leave at 11:30, then just maybe share a checkout on the chat and leave. But if you can stay for 15-20 minutes or so, that'll be really wonderful.
Yeah, I think I'm happy with whatever the room wants because there is one last thing that I had planned as a closing for this exploration today. So if people are feeling like they would like to share and they would like to reflect, we could be with that. Or if you want to draw more, then I can share the next prompt. I think drawing more would be what we would all want to do. Great. So, people, now for the last prompt of the day. So, we will now draw without any rules. We take the object and you can color in. Shlesha, you can bring in some texture if you want to. And this is all about just letting go. We've stayed with the object now for quite a bit of time, like for the last whatever a number of hours and minutes. And now it can take its own shape. So we'll take 5 minutes. We can bring in color, we can change the material we are working with. In fact, I'd invite you to change the material you were working with so far. And it can be anything actually, this drawing. Anything you want it to be.
Anything means doesn't have to be related to our object also.
And that's up to you.
Ah,
We've been with the thing for this much period of time. So whatever is coming up for you right away, just draw.
okay, I'm gonna start the time on now.
Yeah.
How long do we have? 5 minutes.
I had thought 5 minutes for this.
folks, time is up.
That was a very short 5 minutes. So I know we overshot on the time a bit. So I just want to get a sense of how you're feeling at the end of the session. Is it different from what when you started? Probably some short reflections on that before we close.
I think this was my favorite part. I was like itching to color in my objects. Thanks.
Pankaj, we often ask people to share how are you feeling at the end after doing this piece. Just this piece. You said it's your favorite part. So how did it leave you feeling?
I think I'm excited, and yeah, I feel like a sense of aliveness, this joy and energy.
Sure. Thank you. So maybe we can do this, taking a cue from what we just did here. If we can just share how I'm left feeling with this last piece, especially we won't go into long reflections about it, given the time actually, and then we can move towards closing statements.
Maybe I can share. I'm feeling called to share that I felt a sense of distillation, like staying with the object for a really long time. And when I actually put my pen to paper this time, it just flowed. I didn't have to, there was no thought, it was just there. So I'm feeling quite complete actually.
I can continue by saying I feel complete, and this last activity brought me there. I just chose to look inside and try and draw that because I've been drawing the outside all along. And I ended with the reflection. Is it connection or is
Vandana,
it a
hold the
container?
reflection. Hold the
Sorry,
reflection.
it was just two
Just
words.
feeling. Just feeling. Let's stay
Feeling,
with this.
yeah. Connection, completeness, container.
Perfect. Thank you. There is so much. We are all a very reflective group. There's so much to share. Unfortunately, we do have the limitations of time.
I
So
was ending there.
let's stay with whatever else has come up for us. Yeah.
I just had the question. That's all. I meant to say question, not reflection.
Also, before everyone leaves, if you can, if you feel like, please share your drawings. I'd love to see what came up in the session because I didn't get to see anyone's drawings. So just if you're okay with it in the group, you can share. Oh, nice. That's fun. Beautiful. Nice. Oh, sweet. Oh, nice, Apurva.
It's my matcha box.
Nice. Lovely. Guys, hold up your drawings now. I'll just take a screenshot. Yeah, one sec. One sec. Yeah, got it.
Okay, anyone else want to share? How are you feeling after this last drawing? I feel very much at ease. That's how I feel.
Yeah, complete is also what my word was as Aditi started talking. Complete is, yeah, it's feeling very like it has just all came together.
We have a few on the group chat also. Punari says feeling happy. Bhumi says feeling relaxed. Ankita's ready to play. Ashlesha, you want to share? You haven't shared, no?
I am feeling wonderstruck.
Sukriti?
I'm feeling happy in this last one.
Okay, folks, let's move to closing statements. Any closing statement you want to, anything you discovered for yourself, anything you're leaving with? It could be a question, it could be an insight, something that has just touched you. I can start us off. I think when I was drawing the object upside down, I think what struck me is it's the question is not if can I draw. The question is can I see? And the more I could see, the more I could draw. So I'm taking that back with me.
I can go. Um, this is, I think it's making me reflect a lot about why Aditi has been doing this her whole life. It's, yeah, I think for me, I'm often stuck in thought and just moving into movement and action of just doing this exercise together with you all is reminding me so much of how much like the action can come first and the reflection and thinking can come after also. So definitely a prompt for trying to do this daily, at least for 5 minutes in the morning.
अंकिता बोल दो ना यार ग्रुप में.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one is it's on a more practical level, it's inspiring me to leave this setup as is on my work desk so that I can come back to it. And it's taken me a while, so thank you both. Yeah, and I think more than anything today was about just how can I see the same thing again and again and again? How can I do the same yoga again and again and again? Yeah, I think that's just a question that I'm left with, that how much value there is in just seeing something with freshness and curiosity multiple times.
Yeah, I think I also, I mean, I feel like sharing that after drawing this last one came to me very quickly and I had a lot of time. And since there were no rules, I just stared at everyone. And I just felt a very different sense of completeness because I think just seeing everyone absorbed, um, doing, just absorbed literally like children. And in today's day and age, when we are always so distracted, it just filled up my heart in a way that these words actually feel very limiting. And yeah, I think I'm going back with one, that I want to create more spaces like this, and two, that a rediscovery that drawing really helps me stay. It's been that for me. I think from the very beginning, that's what it was for me, but I didn't have the language or the understanding then. But now, as I draw with all of you today, it's somewhere gone and, become like a really reaffirming thing for me again. Thank you.
Okay, others, closing statements. What has stayed with you? What are you in touch with? No compulsion, but if you'd like to share.
I can go next. So yeah, thank you so much, Apurva and Aditi, for doing this. When you said this is the last exercise, and I was like, what? We just started, Can't believe I've been sitting in this chair for 2 hours. Never happens, especially on a Sunday morning. Uh, so thank you so much for, making me lost in something that I used to enjoy doing and had stopped doing for I don't know what reason. But yeah, connecting me be back with drawing and just, relaxing and having a good time, not overthinking and, not worrying about other day-to-day stuff. And yeah, I have a lot of feedback, but I think Aditi, I'll save it for you and our call later. So thank you so much. And you've built a lovely community. Yeah. This has been lovely and lovely meeting all of you and hearing about your, experience. Thanks so much.
Okay, my closing statement is, what is my relationship with that which I'm seeing? Has it changed in the course of the drawing?
My closing statement is that something has opened inside me. I can't stop, I can't put the pencil down. So it felt like, something has opened, things are coming out.
For me, I think this was just a reminder that I love using my hands, and like doing tactile things just brings me a lot of joy.
Okay, last call. Anyone else sitting on something? Just say it.
I'll I didn't know how I could distill it down to, one or two things. So I'll try to do this without taking too much time. So for me, I think I'm like, unlike many of you, I don't do a lot of inner work and things like that. So spaces like these are very, very sort of very, very refresh for me because I'm just usually like, always on the go, with work, with kids, with so many other things. So this has been really nice to just take that time out on a Sunday morning, because otherwise I'm usually just so engrossed in, okay, what are my kids up to? What do I have to deliver tomorrow? There's just a lot. So it has been nice to just sort of take this time out and do this. And secondly, also, I think like, my father was an artist, but I don't, because I have this notion in my head that I am not a good artist, I don't even attempt. So it was just nice to, just put the pen, see, you can see it's like rolling. Thank you to warn me out. But anyway, so it has been really nice to just, attempt it. And for me, actually, the very first exercise, I don't know if you can see it. But the very first, I used a pencil, so I think maybe you can't see it. You
We
know,
can, now we can. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
this I think is like the most beautiful out of all my drawings. And it just sort of remind because I'm such a control freak and a perfectionist, it has just been the word is freeing, I think, to know that it is okay to be perfect. And there's more beauty in being in imperfect things rather than trying to be very, very controlled about life and things. So yeah, a lot for me, I think, in a short 1 hour session. So yeah. Thank you. Thank you for this space and for this lovely Sunday morning exploration.
Okay, thank you. Wow. So touched and moved by everything everyone had to share. And I can't stop smiling. I don't know. So that's where I will leave it at. And really, thank you, Bhumi, for acknowledging our community. Really, everyone here is a friend. And that's how we actually wanted the first session. We said, हाँ, first session में तो सारे friends and known लोग ही आएंगे. It's fine. And that's actually been so lovely. And thank you all for your support and your presence and your participation. And yeah, thank you, Aditi, for leading us through this. So yeah, you want to say anything as we
I'm
close?
just no words. Just thank you to everyone and also to you, Apurva, for really supporting this and believing in me actually in many times when I didn't believe in myself and holding that space for me. It means really a lot. And to see it in this way today just fills my heart. So you also keep doing what you're doing, more of it.
Thank you. So friends, please do send us your feed. So I have two, I'll put it in the group, but if we can all take pictures of our various stages of our drawing, if you feel like sharing your object, I'll also share mine. It'll be nice for us to see them. And if you feel like sharing, this is not about comparison. Hopefully by now it's just, also it'll be nice for us to have some of that as if we do this again. And yeah, any feedback, what worked, what didn't work, that'll be nice. You can write to me, you can write to Aditi. It'll be really helpful. And thank you for staying on. And we have definitely learned we need 2 hours in the session. So we will not plan for 90 minutes next time. Thank you.
Thank you both. Bye.
Thank
Aditi,
you.
shall we stay back?